Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another episode of the Risk Matrix with myself, Dr. Martin, and James Junkin.
Roll Tide, it's back. We're back. We got a special guest in the house. You're in the Risk Matrix, baby, Matt. We'll get to you in just a moment.
So like you see here, or if you're watching or you're listening, we have Matthew Heron. He is the Safety Professional of the Year for American Society of Safety Professionals, and he's going to be talking about his journey today. But before we do that, we're going to have James roll us in with a note from our sponsor.
So, just like our past episode, we're getting ready to be in Orlando at the National Safety Council's Safety Congress and Expo, September 13th through the 19th. We'd love to have you down to the Veriforce booth. A lot of exciting speakers for this particular conference. Man, we're fired up from ASSP, rolling right into the National Safety Council. So if you're there, stop by the booth, meet some of our strategic advisory board members, and let's talk how we all can work together to bring workers home safe.
All right. So welcome to the show, Matt, and congratulations on your award. James, I guess, was down there to see you receive it. So congratulations. Well done. And, I'm going to let James start with the questioning because I know he aspires someday, to reach the potential that you've reached. I know he's working on his doctorate and he's doing lots of great things, but what's the recipe for success? Is there one?
Oh, for me, yes. I think that it's hard work and discipline is what it really boils down to. But, before I get into that, I just want to say thank you so much for having me today. I really do appreciate the invitation to be here on the Risk Matrix. So you guys have a fantastic podcast. So
Thank you.
in terms of, how you get there, again, it's really hard work and discipline. And you really have to focus in on what your goals are and, make a plan and work the plan, right?
Absolutely.
So
a lot of things
go ahead, James.
you talk about, man, I'm passionate about, hard work and discipline. No secret, I'm a big fan of Coach Saban. And he defined discipline as, hey, doing the things you don't want to do when you have to do them, and not doing the things that you're not supposed to do. Discipline. And a lot of people lack discipline in their lives, and it's really human nature to be average. And you're not average. You are an engineer. You're telling us about your undergraduate degree in physics, which is amazing. I always wanted to be a physics major. I thought quantum physics was outstanding. Then I saw the math, and I'm like, hey, safety dude, that's me.
Yeah, they do that just for that, by the way.
I would have found Matt right away during labs and sidled up to him because physics was not my thing. Geology, we had to have a year of physics, and it was just not my thing. So a homage to you for having a degree in physics because it was hard.
So how did you, let me just follow up on this discipline. Where did this come from? This attitude, hard work and discipline. Where did that start for you?
I think my parents actually instilled that in me, I came from so I am an engineer, scientist. I come from a family of artists, actually. So my dad is a graphic artist. My mother was a piano teacher, special ed teacher. She taught for over 30 years. And then my brother is a percussionist. And then my grandmother was a painter. So I really felt like growing up, like I needed more structure in my life. So the way I look at it is, the creative process can be very chaotic. So I like to assimilate it to order born out of chaos. So, but it does help me today because of the background in music and art that my family instilled, is because I infuse that into my presentations that I give during my safety meetings and things like that. So I try to make them very creative, very useful. So that side of my brain has really helped me. And then with the technical side, really being able to focus in on the standards and digging your teeth into those.
Okay.
Cool. I actually think that science and music and art have a lot of things in common. Science is an art, right? And if you've seen some of the articles that come out of various research projects, they are saying science and art, right, in the same sentence.
Mhm.
Because there's a way that music is put together, there's a way that art's put together, same way as we put together presentations, right? We're looking for something beautiful and something that actually reaches the target, right? Music reaches the target, art reaches the target. So does science, and so does how we negotiate in the workplace with people to do safe work. So I think you probably come by it honestly, but there is a direct descendant there of the two.
Oh, I
So,
agree. And I think with, the whole, now that they've added art to STEM, so now they've made it STEAM,
team,
I think that it's really going to help because again, as safety professionals, we have to balance, right? We have to create those relationships. And how else are you going to do that but by expression, right? You have to learn how to communicate. And, we talk about communication as being a soft skill. It's an essential skill for a safety professional. So I think we need to quit referring to it as a soft skill, and we need to make sure we're focusing in on that of how to do that within our EHS curriculum.
One of
yeah.
the things I've
Hey,
seen in your career, I didn't mean to step on you, Dr. Martin,
that's all right.
but you've always been willing to volunteer your time, your knowledge, your expertise. And I think that's really what makes a good leader. A leader is not about getting people to do things for their benefit, for the leader's benefit. It's
Mm-hmm.
really about helping people achieve their goals. So if I'm doing it for me, then that's manipulation.
Yeah.
And people can see right through that. And as a safety professional, if I'm doing things to make me look better, to lower the TRR, so I get the bonus, I get recognized, people see right through that. That's manipulation. But at the individual level, if you can ever figure out what people's goals are,
Mm-hmm.
what they want to do, and you help them achieve their goals, which you have done, you'll get the recognition. I think that I had no say in or vote in the ASSP Safety Professional of the Year selections, but I respect that process, and you were certainly a worthy candidate based on what you have done for others throughout your career. So, where did that start?
I guess so. Once I graduated from the University of West Georgia, which is about 20 miles from the Alabama-Georgia border, right
Roll
there on
Tide.
Interstate 20.
See
And
how he sneaks that in? It's
he
it's
always
it's
does.
it's 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 not even subtle anymore. It just,
It's true. It's like a
just drive a
comedy.
truck through it.
It's a term of endearment.
There you go.
Yeah.
So having a degree in physics, you think you could get a job anywhere, but I was struggling to find a job back then. And so I actually went down to visit my mom in Florida and ended up staying down there, got a job at a company that did testing, calibration services for the military, aerospace, telecommunications industries, um, and ended up being able to use my degree in a lot of different ways. We made semiconductors there that I helped with. We helped with calibration, doing environmental testing, that kind of thing. And then one day they actually asked me to be a part of their health and safety committee. And so, that's where safety found me, right? And I found my passion for helping to protect people. And that's when I decided to go back to school and went to the University of Michigan and to be a NIOSH trainee in their occupational safety engineering and ergonomics program up there. So, um, you know, I always say that safety finds you, right? I think there's more people today because there's so many different more OHS academic programs out there, right, that are more accessible. But I think a lot of times people fall into it, right? I think if you ask 85% of the, the safety population, they fell into it, right? They didn't plan on it necessarily, but now it's
Mhm.
their passion, and now they're thriving.
So I want to circle back because James said he stepped on me, and I want to make this point here. We were talking about soft skills, right? And this kind of weaves in with finding the profession, right? I think sometimes you have the makeup from your upbringing and whatever to find safety. With the programs that are coming out today, there's a lot of safety programs that are capturing people at the freshman level,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're going into safety. And I have a passion for changing those curriculums. And you mentioned this, that our curriculums really have to focus on that communication portion um, of understanding why people do things and motivation factors and psychology and all of those things that go into fostering that mindset, right? And so, my dream is to have that upfront stuff that really kind of molds you into, if you didn't come in inherently with those factors from your upbringing, molds you into understanding those factors, and then you get the science. Because as you said, a lot of people find safety later on in their careers, right? And I think you can learn the technical, you can look up the technical,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's really, really hard to hone those skills. And without the background of the fundamental psychology, sociology, communication, speech, all of those things, I think we ill prepare people for some of the things that they experience in the field. So um, I'm on board with you. I think our curriculums need to change a little bit
Mm-hmm.
at the undergrad level for people coming in that way. And that's kind of my passion. So thank you for saying that, because I think you know it is essential. It is essential to know how to speak,
Yeah.
essential to know how to communicate. And communicate is transfer of knowledge back and forth. It's not me spewing stuff at you. And so um what say you on that? Do you
No,
agree, disagree?
no, I definitely agree with you. And I think that, as we're in the transition period of trying to change that curriculum, I think that's where our professional development comes in just to play, right? So finding those opportunities to go to conferences and things like that. I think mentorship is a huge, huge one. And, everybody that I know that is successful has a mentor, right? And it goes back to that two-way communication, right? There's a mutual benefit between the two. And I think the later you get in your career, the more you look back and see how you can actually give back, right? You get to that point, and then I think that it's very important to do that, because you need to reach out, bring your hand up, and bring the next people, because they're the next generation that's going to fill our shoes, right?
Mhm.
And so we need to make sure that we have a strong pipeline for that.
Well,
Um,
you know, we talked about this at the conference in one of the sessions I was participating in as a panelist. And there is a big focus at ASSP and BCSP to connect mentors with mentees. And I don't know, you probably experienced this more than I do, but now as your profile has risen within the society, everybody knows who you are through your actions on LinkedIn and participation in conferences and being the region vice president and all this. Do you get a lot of requests for mentees to connect with you? Does that happen a lot?
so I'm a part of several different ASSP practice specialties, and so we do have a mentoring program. We actually started one when I was chapter president, um, back 2018 here in the South Texas chapter in San Antonio. I've had calls out of the blue on just messages on LinkedIn. We actually got a great intern through that process. So it just depends on the person. Trying to match a mentor and a mentee depends on what their goals, what are they trying to get out of that relationship, right? Just as safety professionals, what is the important part? Is it a personal goal you're trying to reach, or maybe a professional. So you can have mentors on both sides of the house there. Sometimes they cross over. So, but I think, you know, it, I heard a good quote from, it's actually Denzel Washington. He was talking with Ethan Hawke when he did not win the Oscar for, was it Training Day, I think, the supporting role, whatnot. And he said, "You don't want an award to elevate your status. You want to elevate the status of the award."
Nice.
And after a while, that digested and really sank in with Ethan, evidently, and I agree with that. That award to me is about the people that have helped me along, as well as the people that I've brought up to this point, especially being in Region 3, and we are a back-to-back platinum region. So all of our chapters have become platinum over the past 2 years, and we're aiming for a third this year.
It's awesome.
So, and I think there's another good quote out there, is that leaders build more leaders, right? That's what makes you a leader. So, and I've got a heck of a crew behind me that's coming up. So look out and see what they're going to do after me.
That's good stuff right there. That's good stuff and good advice. One of the things I try to counsel mentees is getting the right mentor, but how you approach somebody you really don't know means everything, right? You don't want to get to the point where you're a pest, but it's got to be couched in a way that, hey, it's beneficial not only for the mentor, but I mean for the mentee, but also the mentor, and be respectful of your mentor's time. All of us are super busy. I would love to help everyone that messages me on LinkedIn. And I try to respond to everyone that messages me on LinkedIn. But there's a lot of messages, right? And there's only so much time in the day. So if I can't help, I always try to refer them to someone that I think that could help them, that's better suited. I don't leave anybody hanging. Nobody left me hanging throughout my career. But at the same time, there's only a limited amount of capacity for all of us, right? And we can't be everything to everyone. And maybe I'm not a good mentor for a certain person that's going into a scientific field. Like that's you and Dr. Martin, the numbers people. I certainly cannot mentor you into certified industrial hygienist. I can tell you that. That's not my gig. I can help you Google it, though. I know what the definition
You can
is.
connect, hey, James, you can connect people to somebody who can mentor them.
But I
And
can find
that's
you
also a
somebody.
really important skill, right? The connections you can make for other people, right? You and I do that all the time, James, right? I mean, who do you know wants to buy a car? Used to be something in the Midwest, but who do you know that knows this, or who do you know that knows that, or you see a potential in somebody but you can't help them, and you pass a name along. That's an important skill too. And that's also mentoring in my mind, right? Is putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
So
And I just to kind of piggyback what James was saying, is that I think you as a mentee, you have to know yourself. You have to know your strengths, your weaknesses, and know who you're looking to get a mentorship from, right? Who in your network, or who can I ask that, maybe has worked in the oil field or worked in construction, right? And that's where that, going back to Dr. Martin's point, is that communication piece, right? You got to know how to communicate with people and tell them what you want. Otherwise, you're not going to get it, right? Never hurts to ask.
I also think that there has to be, in a mentee, there also has to be the realization that sometimes what you want maybe may not be what you need, or what you're capable of doing, and that you have to be open to, if you want a mentor, and you want somebody to talk to you about where your career can go, you have to be open to, this might not be a good fit for you, but here's something that I think you're good at. Or here's something that I think there's potential in for growth. Because, you know, just because you want to be a certified industrial hygienist doesn't mean that you have the aptitude or the skill, or even that there are jobs there, right? Because you know, like it or not, we all have to pretty much go to work every day. And so picking somewhere where there are no jobs, while it's great, it's not really going to help you advance in your career.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And I think, again, the mentee needs to know uh, how do they accept feedback, right? Because I may be James mentee, right? But I don't like the way he says roll tide all the time, right? How is that going to affect me, right? And the mentee needs to know that the mentor is not there to give you all the answers. Is to help kind of tease that out, right? They're there to help give their perspective. Their coach. They're supposed to help coach you and be supportive, right? Praise you in when you get those accomplishments. Help to give you encouragement. But they're not meant to do it for you. They're not meant to, um, uh, you know, I'm trying to think of the word that I was thinking of. But it's really, like James said, it's to help benefit both of you, right? So, the mentor may be, it's again about giving back to the community or to that student, right? In the field. And then maybe it's also they can help learn a new skill, like they've never been on LinkedIn before, or maybe using some sort of social media graphic design program or something like that. So you're helping them and they're helping you. So
Well, I
So
feel the
so as
same
a
way. And look, I love you. You from Michigan. I mean, my roll tide is a term of endearment, but not for
I
all.
understand.
You know,
I knew you were going to say that. I was going to mention that here in just a little bit. So
no, really, I got some family that's Auburn fans. It's just a different rivalry. It
it's
really
true.
is. Uh, but I think we can draw inspiration from your example in always being willing to give back, never being selfish and saying what's all in it for me. Certainly, the mentors got to receive some benefit from the relationship, but not all the benefit from the
Yeah.
relationship, right?
Oh yeah.
It's got to be the right fit. So
Mhm.
if I am a person, Matt, that's got some experience, that's got some um, legacy, if you will, how do I start giving back? How do I go from being the person that's got the nose down, focused on my world, my company, my experience, to saying, hey, I want to give back? How do I start giving back?
I think it comes down to one word: yes. You say yes to volunteering, and it depends on where you feel like your passion is, because I think your passion kind of changes over time depending on where you're at, right? Where you are in your career, I think does affect that, right? Because once you have a family, right, you know, then that's your whole world, right? But again, as safety professionals, I think we have quite a very large extended family, right? When it comes to our work and our network, I should say. Um, so I always encourage students to and mentors, right? Look for those pathways or look for opportunities through ASSP, or maybe it's a conference you meet somebody and they come and engage you. I think there's a lot of different mentorship programs out there that you can get engaged with and sign up for, to give back. So that's where I do find a lot of recharge, and like you were saying, the what the mentor gets back can help you, to learn more about what's going on at their level and to help remember where you used to be, right?
so
Absolutely.
when I think of a heart of a mentor, because you wonder what the mentor gets back, right? You don't get you don't get a claim. You're not striving for medals. You're not looking for all that kind of stuff. I think for me, and this is kind of a Buddhist thought, right? There's a stream of consciousness, and I see the profession as a stream, right? And the stream is ever evolving. And if you seed a portion of yourself into that stream such that it grows and carries with the stream and becomes something else, that's what's in it for the mentor, right? Leaving a piece of yourself on the profession that carries with the next generation, and they change it into something that carries with the next generation. And that's the beauty of it, right? It's like a bunch of threads together, and you put your thread in there to make your mark. And I think that's what a mentor gets. That's just me.
I mean, I look, my proudest moments in safety started after the guys started coming back from the global war on terror. Mm-hmm. After 10 years, 15 years out there in direct combat, we started a program at Veriforce named Battlefields to Oilfields. And being a veteran myself, I was very passionate and almost like a mother hen over these dudes. I wanted to really protect them, get them started right. And we take them down to our training facility in Morgan City, Louisiana. We put them through 30 days of intensive safety training. I mean, everything from rigging to confined space rescue to HAZWOPER to OSHA 10 to our safety foundation programs in the oil and gas industry under Safe Land. First aid, a lot of them already knew that kind of stuff, but we were getting them prepared to have all the credentials and training necessary to go out and be an entry-level safety professional. Mm-hmm. My proudest moments is watching some of those guys mature through the safety ranks. They started out as safety tech. They went back to school and got their degree. Next thing you know, they're a CSP. Some of them came to work for me in our company and grew in that capacity. Then they left the company, and this is going to sound crazy as a business owner. I was happy when they left because they went to better themselves. Now they're making impacts at companies on the East Coast, on the West Coast, in Middle America. They're really making a difference in people's lives. And I'm proud to be a small part of that. And my part was really small. My part was just being their instructor and giving them an opportunity. They did the work. Mm-hmm. They studied for school. They did classes at night. They studied for the CSP exam. They put in what they needed to do. And that's what I got out of it, was being super proud for them that, hey, in some small measure, I was a part of a team that made a difference. We trained over 500 veterans. You know how many veterans of that group committed suicide? 0.
That's awesome.
0. None. We had a 96% placement rate right out of school, right out of class. So we worked with organizations like Halliburton, Schlumberger, MI Swico, Oceaneering. They'd come down, they'd talk to our students. We had job fairs for them, and they would hire them and give them a chance. And we had a great success rate. I don't know any other program out there that can say 96% get hired on in a job. That's pretty good. So I'm super proud to have been part of that. The credit goes to the guys who were in the arena, the men and women that came through that program that sacrificed, did the work. Look, man, Morgan City in the heat of summer in South Louisiana is no picnic.
No
picnic. They did what they had to do. They lived with us, left their families. They put in the work, and I was just a small cog of that. But I'm super proud of it. Super proud of it.
What I heard out of that is you gave them purpose, right? And I think that's what makes a difference. And I think that's, as far as being a safety professional, we have a very special purpose in this honorable profession that we've chosen. And it really does take a very special person to endure and go through this, doesn't it?
Oh, yes. I don't think people really, I told my class today, I was teaching a class today, training the trainer class, and I told my class, I respect what you do. And you need to come to grips that sometimes your management team thinks all you do is ride around and check PPE. Man, I wish all I had to do was ride around and tell people put on their hard hat. That'd be the easiest job in the world, right?
Exactly.
But as a safety professional, we refer to this as a practice. One of the other things I really respect about you and Dr. Martin, you're both lifelong learners.
Mm-hmm.
The learning never stops. And that's why it's a practice. We're never going to arrive, but we can get better at what we do in helping people get home safe.
Yep. That's that continual improvement mindset.
So what's next, Matt? What's next? Let's talk about continual learning. What's next for Matt?
So I'm actually in the process of going through. I've gone back to school, to graduate school. I'm going back for an MBA right now.
Okay.
So
Very cool.
I'm about halfway done right now.
Yeah, you got to get that PMP after you get your MBA, right?
I've thought
Project
about it.
management skills are huge, huge for safety professionals, and I don't think people realize a lot of things that you're doing is strategic planning.
Mm-hmm.
Statistical analysis, economic feasibility studies, things that you learn in that MBA. And I have an MBA,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't speak highly enough about the skills that I've learned from that. Some of them I kind of went by the wayside, but
Yeah.
I did learn some project management skills that have carried through the course of my career that were invaluable. So that's cool. Kudos to you for going back to school.
Thank you so much.
Is
And we're
there a
proud of you.
doctorate in your future?
It's been 12 years since I was in graduate school before, so I can definitely see the the difference, and I have a better perspective of it. And I think just the drive to finish it right is like going back to what we first started with, is just the discipline, right? It's tough balancing work and ASSP and family and school.
Mm-hmm.
And everything, but you got to keep your eye on the goal, right?
You can
It
do
is
it.
tough. I am living that life. It's tough.
Yeah.
I like to tell people I've never really been able to master that work-life balance. I just don't know how to do it. I just,
Well,
Truer
and
words were never spoken, James Junkin.
well, I had a great conversation with a young lady during Safety 2024. Her dad is actually a safety professional, and now she is just about to graduate from Slippery Rock, and she's going to be going into the safety field, possibly industrial hygiene. But that is you make a really good point, James, is to be successful, there is no such thing as a work-life balance. You have to always do that little bit extra in order to make a difference, right? You do a little bit every single day. If you look at the end of the year, you will have more accomplished than the person that just went and did the 9 to 5, right?
You don't look for a piece of the pie, you make the pie bigger.
There you go. Yeah. There's another really good quote that I like to, kind of encourage myself with is, what is it? Don't be disappointed by the results you didn't get because of the work you didn't do.
I like that. Coach Saban put it out there, and he said, in life, there's going to be pain.
Mm-hmm.
Either the pain of discipline or the pain of disappointment. Right? And I thought that was outstanding. We and you draw a lot of parallels from quotes from others, and I find them inspirational because not every day is a great day.
No.
There are a lot of tough days in safety. There are a lot of tough days in business and just tough days in life in general.
Mm-hmm.
But I think looking at your career, the impact that you've made, you're a great example for others to follow. Thank you for coming on our show, sharing your story. We'll give you the last word. Piece of advice for emerging safety professionals.
How about I'll go with another quote. Winston Churchill: "Never give up, never give up, never give up."
I like it. I like it. I'm a fan of Churchill who smokes my cigars. So we're all good, right? We're all good. Well, thank you for joining us. Matthew Herron, Safety Professional of the Year for the American Society of Safety Professionals, scientist, engineer, certified safety professional, all around good dude. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Martin.
If you like our show and you like what we say, or even if you don't like what you say and you listen anyway, go and hit subscribe, smash that like button, tell us what you think. Try to be a guest. We need guests. We love to talk about different things that have to do with risk, safety, procurement, accounting, anything that has risk within a business. We like to talk about it. So give us a holler. And until next time, James.
Y'all keep bringing those workers home safe. Out.